Is this on? Hello. Hi, Merry Christmas. I'm so glad you're all here for our pre-service music, and we're just about ready to start. I just wanted to give you one short announcement. Unfortunately, our mezzo-soprano, Maria Beto Calhoun, came down with COVID today. So she's not able to be here, but the good news is that our own Cindy Cohen is, is going to step in for the duet. But if you're looking at your program, we won't be doing the fifth number in the pre-service, the mezzo-soprano aria. So there will be one piece less than you see in your program. Okay, so I hope you enjoy.
So welcome to our Christmas Eve Candlelight service. So glad that you are here with us this evening. And you may have noticed that in addition to the words being on the screen, there's also a booklet in your order of service. If you did not happen to get a candle when you came in, they are in the back. You see the Greg there with the green sweater? They're right there. You can pick up a candle for later on in the service. So I'm the Reverend Larry Peers, minister here at First Unitarian Church of Wilmington. And joining me in the service today is Catherine Williamson, our Director of Religious Exploration, and Jan Shay, one of our worship associates. We've got a wonderful service of music and songs and readings for you. So we're going to begin by lighting some candles here to welcome in the light into this space. We gather to light candles on this Christmas Eve. Candles of joy despite all sadness. Candles of hope where despair keeps watch. Candles of courage for fears ever present. Candles of peace for tempest-tossed days. Candles of grace to ease heavy burdens. Candles of love to inspire all of our living. Candles that will burn all the year long.
As the Rowan family lights our chalice and Advent wreath, I offer these words from David Breeden. Through this Advent season, this season of waiting, we have asked for patience, light, peace, and love. Now that the waiting is over, now that that which was to be has come, we light the flame of hope. Please repeat with me. We welcome the coming of the days we have waited for. We have realized hope, yet know that hope can never be realized. We commit ourselves to patience, to working to dispel oppression, to working for peace. We commit ourselves to love and to hope. We light this flame as an end, as a beginning, as the symbol of the eternal now. And now please rise in body or in spirit and join in singing It Came Upon the Midnight Clear.
Oh
using my new teleprompter glasses. In the Darkness of Winter by Suzelle Lynch. In the darkness of the winter, quiet hearts beneath the sky, we are waiting for the day star and a holy newborn's cry. Friends and family here have gathered here from near and far, sharing hearts and hands and laughter in the soft light of the star. Legend tells us of a baby born to those whose hearts were free, scared and lonely, traveling onward, seeking shelter endlessly. Ancient story of rejoicing names the baby born that night as a savior for all earthbound, bringing hope and joy and light. But who is this holy baby legends say was born this night? Do we seek a newborn savior? Could a child bring so much light? We who gather know the secret of the Savior long foretold. He's a blessing deep within us. She's a gift within our soul. Every night a child is born, we know the spark of holiness. Every person has within them hope and love and tenderness. In the darkness of the winter, quiet hearts beneath the sky, we are waiting for the day star and a holy newborn's cry. That was so wonderful. Thank you. In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world. This was the first census that took place while Quirinius was governor of Syria, and everyone went to their own town to register. So Joseph also went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to Bethlehem, the town of David, because he belonged to the house and line of David. He went there to register with Mary, who was pledged to be married to him and was expecting a child. While they were there, the time came for the baby to be born, and she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in cloths and placed him in a manger, because there was no guest room available for them. And there were shepherds living out in the fields nearby, keeping watch over their flocks at night. An angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all the people. Today in the town of David, a Savior has been born to you. He is the Messiah, the Lord. This will be a sign to you. You will find a baby wrapped in cloths and lying in a manger." When the angels had left them and gone into heaven, the shepherds said to one another, "Let's go to Bethlehem and see this thing that has happened, which the Lord has told us about." So they hurried off and found Mary and Joseph and the baby, who was lying in the manger. When they had seen him, they spread the word concerning what had been told to them about this child, and all who heard it were amazed at what the shepherds said to them. But Mary treasured up all these things and pondered them in her heart. The shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all the things they had heard and seen, which were just as they had been told. Now please rise in body or in spirit and join in singing "In the Bleak Midwinter."
Good Tonight we heard about the journey Mary and Joseph made to Bethlehem. We heard about the angel announcing Jesus' birth to shepherds and how the shepherds traveled to see the newborn baby. Others were making the journey to Bethlehem as well. 3 wise men were traveling from the east to see the newborn baby. They enlisted the help of an old camel who could be a little bit grumpy. Now, this old camel, named Hashma, was asleep in the desert when the 3 wise men approached him. "Hashma," one of the wise men cried, "you have been chosen to carry gifts to a baby." "Why me?" groaned Hashma. "If you are so wise, you should know that my joints ache, my sciatica bothers me, and my gout. I can't carry any gifts." Knowing of Hashma's grumpiness, a second wise man stepped forward and patted him, saying, "We know you are old, but we also know that you have the strength of 10 horses. You can easily carry frankincense, myrrh, and gold." Hashma, who was also a little vain, sighed and agreed to make the journey. The wise men and Hashma began the journey early the next morning. At noon, a herd of mountain goats approached Hashma and asked, "Will you carry our humble gift of milk for the baby?" "Milk?" Hashma sputtered. "Are you kidding me? I am not a milk-bearing camel. I am not ordinary like you." "No, you are not ordinary," said one of the goats. "We have heard that you have the strength of 10 horses. Hashma muttered to himself, "My joints, my gout, my sciatica." But then aloud he said, "Give me your gifts." Later that day, the wise men and Hashma were stopped by a family of millers asking if Hashma could carry bags of ground grain to the newborn baby. Hashma felt weary just thinking about carrying those bags, but he said, "Give me your heavy bags, I'll carry them." Now, as the journey continued, some young ladies asked Hashma to carry fine silk to the baby. Then he was asked to carry 2 rare birds, sweetmeats, and pastries. Finally, it was time to rest. Hashma looked up and saw the beautiful bright star they were following and fell peacefully asleep. Now, word of the journey of the 3 wise men and Hashma spread like sand before a desert wind. As the journey continued, people lined up along the route they were taking to Bethlehem, holding up their gifts for Hashma to take to the baby. There were jars of honey, baskets of money, rolls of leather, jewels, and beads. Hashma moaned to himself, "This will be the ruin of me," as his load grew heavier and heavier and heavier. Someone cried, "Look, there's Bethlehem. Hashma, you really do have the strength of 10 horses. We're almost there." Now, Hashma knew he could reach the baby under the star as long as he did not stop until he arrived and did not accept any more gifts. He knew he could do it. He could do it. Just then, out of the darkness, a small voice said, "I have a gift for the baby." Hashma looked down at a tiny child. "Please, child, no more gifts. It has no weight," the child said. "It is long and light. It is for the baby who was born tonight. It is little." "Too little is too much," Hashma whispered. "Didn't I hear you are as strong as 10 horses?" asked the child. "Well, yes, sort of. But my joints, my gout." Hashma looked into the child's eyes, and his heart melted. "Yes, child, give me this smaller than small gift. What harm can it do?" Hashma said bravely, "if foolishly." Hashma continued on his journey with the piece of hay for the baby's bed given by the child. Hashma finally entered the stable. "My knees are loosening. My legs, they wobble. My back is breaking. Will this last straw cause me to fail?" And with that, Hashma fell to his knees next to the baby. A tiny hand reached out and touched Hashma. His pain seemed to disappear. He could no longer feel his burden. Then he heard the voice of the baby. "Thank you, Hashma, for bringing these gifts from far and wide, especially this piece of straw. It was the last one I needed to sleep in comfort and peace." The story is that although Hashma was already an old camel before he made the journey to Bethlehem, he lived an unbelievably long time afterwards. There are some who say he never died, but continues to live on in the desert. Some say he continues to carry those who are lost or unsure towards the Christmas that they long to see. If at some point this evening you feel lost and don't know what to do, perhaps he will find you and take you where you need to go. If you find yourself acting with uncommon spirit and kindness this season, perhaps he already has. Merry Christmas to all. And now please, thank you. Now please join in our carol printed in your order of service and on our screen.
Their robes and cardboard wings, angels begin to sing. With pristine blue sheets, Mary makes an entrance, only to give birth to a baby doll Jesus, or in some cases, from central casting of the congregation, a young infant has their first major role in the congregation's production. Now, whatever we think about or believe about the story of Christmas, being able to see it, to play it, to sing about it, as we're doing tonight, engages us in the images of the Christmas stories in ways that just hearing the story does not. In this congregation, we celebrate several of the winter holidays. We've celebrated Hanukkah and winter solstice, and tonight we've reserved some time to celebrate Christmas. Did you know that Christmas was not always allowed to be celebrated in this country? Who knew that? Anybody? Yes, so the Pilgrims or the Puritans would have none of it. They even managed to outlaw Christmas celebrations from 1659 to 1681. That's a few years before some of us in the room were born, so maybe you didn't really know about this. They insisted that stores and schools would stay open on Christmas Day, and that there would be no celebration of Christmas in churches. The Puritans insisted in their purest way that Jesus wouldn't want his birthday celebrated, and that the celebration wasn't biblical, and there would be no holiday cakes or candles. And some of you may know that it was some unlikely suspects who brought us some of the Christmas stories, rituals, and carols that we enjoy today. Yes, it was the Unitarians. Who would have known? Yes, it was the Unitarians, who we tend to characterize as overly reasonable, only rational, only moved by fact and not by feeling. In fact, as my colleague, UU historian, Reverend Susan Ritchie says in her book, How the Unitarians and the Universalists Invented Christmas, she documents how the Unitarians, the Universalists, and the Unitarian and Universalists from the mid-1800s introduced stories and songs and rituals that have become part of everyone's Christmas celebrations and practices. Now, I only have time to name a few. We've received stories like the Christmas Carol by Unitarian Charles Dickens because he thought that Christmas could be a season to remind us of the healing power of generosity and our own human part of bringing joy into the world. Dickens saw the celebration of Christmas as a way to encourage us all, no matter what our religion, to open our hearts freely and think of those less fortunate. How many of you have heard of that story? Okay. How many of you have seen the movie? All right. So we've received rituals, practices like the Christmas tree. It was Charles Follen, a minister of a Unitarian congregation in Lexington, Massachusetts, with his wife Eliza in 1832, who delighted party guests with something quite remarkable: a Christmas tree, an evergreen tree lit by real candles indoors and decorated with some ornaments. Follen was born in Germany, and though he knew of the pagan roots of the Christmas tree in his own country, he brought the tree indoors to celebrate the season, to the dismay and to the delight of his neighbors. Yes, and we've also received Christmas carols as well, written by Unitarians and Unitarian Universalists. So, Unitarian James Pierpont wrote, what do you think? Right, he wrote Jingle Bells. So, abolitionist Edmund Sears, a Unitarian, wrote, It came upon a midnight clear, as a protest against the Mexican-American War, calling for peace, goodwill, and justice. It includes that bold and unique verse for its time. Truly, he taught us to love one another. His law is love, and his gospel is peace. Chains he shall break, for the slave is our brother, and in his name all oppression shall cease. And the Unitarian Universalist Noel Regney wrote the lyrics, Do you hear what I hear? In October 1962 as a plea for peace during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Some of you probably could even hum that carol right now. I'm listening. I thought so. Okay, good. So there includes this verse, Said the night wind to the little lamb, do you see what I see? Way up in the sky, little lamb, do you see what I see? A star, dancing in the night, with a tail as big as a kite, with a tail as big as a kite. These stories, these songs, these practices and rituals allowed for both a meaningful and a playful engagement with the characters and the images of the Christmas story. Christmas, whatever our religious or non-religious persuasion, conveys some universal human aspirations. Christmas may be celebrated among us because we understand that the human soul needs to be spoken to in images as well as words. We recognize that correctly worded creeds, after all, never saved a soul. We realize if there is to be joy in the world and peace on earth, if the kingdom of love is to arrive, it must be born again and again, ignited again and again within us and through us. But most of all, we need imagination that stirs in us the appreciation of life's wonder and mystery, that allows us to see that the holy is tucked into everything. The holy is tucked into everything, even in places we might not expect, like a simple stable with a newborn child. Let us receive the stories and the images of Christmas as we seek new meanings. See this image of a pregnant woman and her betrothed seeking to find a place where the birth of the newborn, who some will call Emmanuel, God with us, can happen. Now is the moment to remember all of those who are unwelcomed, shut out, seeking asylum in today's world. They too could experience new possibilities if we can but let them find a place of refuge and sanctuary. See this image of a humble child born of humble parents, a carpenter's son. Now is the time to pay attention to the breaking forth of what is holy. It's not limited to one person. It's not limited to one religion. It's not limited to one time in history. For every night a child is born is a holy night, and each of us bears some of the divine light that we can bring into this world. See the image of a young mother gossiped about in her neighborhood, but who ponders in her heart that she has a humble mission to magnify her God. See Mary, who sings a revolutionary song, the Magnificat, that includes these verses. He has brought down the powerful from their thrones and lifted up the lowly. Now is the time to listen, so that we might hear what good is wanting to happen in us and through us to aid those in this suffering and splendid world. See the image of a stable. Perhaps it is a cold, dark night. The animals smell like animals do, and they make animal sounds. What are some of the animal sounds you might imagine the animals in the stable made? Great. So now is the time to respond. We do not always have to wait until the conditions are perfect. Most often, what is remarkable happens in the most ordinary and unforeseen circumstances. See images of shepherds, lowly outcasts, trying to keep watch over their sheep, holding off sleep while others find rest through the night. And now is the time for each of us to be witnesses and to be advocates for our common hopes, for peace on earth, goodwill among all. So underneath all of these images is a message that awakens our hearts, that stirs our imaginations, that causes us to look at the ordinary with eyes open to mystery and moved by awe. Each of us can embody what is holy. Perhaps we're all invited to a no-rehearsal Christmas pageant every single day. May we find whatever costumes that we have. May we use whatever props that are at hand. May we fall into familiar roles and with renewed purpose. Or may we find new roles that we never imagined ourselves to be. For each of us is part of a great story, of a divine love within us and among us that needs us to embody it. This is your chance to shine. Let me see you. Look at me. I want to look at you in the eyes. This is your chance to shine. The cosmos is awaiting your performance or your encore. When in this service, each of us, towards the end, raises our candle, when our faces are illuminated by the light shared among us and within us, when this darkened room gradually becomes aglow by mystery, by wonder, and by our mere presence, may we realize that now is the moment to realize that there is enough divinity to illumine each desiring heart and to reveal to us what needs redeeming in this world. So let each of us take our part in bringing hope and light and love into this world, to unexpected places. Let each of us take our part in bringing a blessing to places that need that blessing. And as we take that part, let's recognize that no rehearsal is necessary. We can begin even now.
There's no slide. I'm going to share a favorite Unitarian Universalist reading by Sophia Lyon-Falls called For So the Children Come. Thank you. For so the children come, and so they have been coming. Always in the same way they come, born of the seed of man and woman. No angels herald their beginnings. No prophets predict their future courses. No wise men see a star to show where to find the babe that will save humankind. Yet, each night a child is born is a holy night. Fathers and mothers sitting beside their children's cribs feel glory in the sight of a new life beginning. They ask, where and how will this new life end? Or will it ever end? Each night a child is born is a holy night, a time for singing, a time for wondering, a time for worshiping.
This particular Christmas Eve service is an especially joyful one for me. I'm so happy to be singing Christmas music again with my beloved choir members. This is also Kathy's first live service directing the choir at Christmas. Last year we did have a service, but the choir wasn't back singing live yet. And I'm also very happy that my mother made the trip here with me, braving this insanely cold weather to sit and share Christmas Eve service. So tonight I am overflowing with Christmas spirit, and I'm so thankful for our thriving music program here at First U. Tonight's special offering is for the YWCA. Becca Cotto, their Director of Racial and Social Justice, has provided us with a short video highlighting some of their many programs that serve our community. Your donations tonight will help to support these programs and the important work of the YWCA.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Becca Cotto, and I'm the Director of Racial and Social Justice for YWCA Delaware. Merry Christmas Eve, First U. I hope that you don't mind I call you by your nickname. I feel like we're old friends now. I would like to express our sincere gratitude from YWCA Delaware and myself for the wonderful partnership and friendship that we share. From hosting events to facilitating racial conversations to the generous donations that help fund our racial and social justice programming. As 2022 is coming to a close, I'd like to share some of our accomplishments which your funding helps. We have touched over 2,000 individuals this year. We used to just say Delawareans, but since COVID and Zoom, now 2,000 individuals across the country. That's really a big thing. We hosted our pilot series of transformational racial healing circles. We presented author Carol Anderson of One Person, No Vote, How Voter Suppression is Destroying Our Democracy. We produced over 7 Let's Talk series discussing things like reparations, what Black history really looks like, and racism in the arts, among others. We presented workshops for our DE&I work on unconscious bias, microaggressions, inclusion, and cultural sensitivity. Those are just some of the things that we've accomplished, and all of this is with your help. And looking forward to 2023. Our first event is a partnership with you guys right here in this church. We're going to host a screening of Who We Are, a chronicle of racism in America. Really looking forward to that event. It's on Martin Luther King Day in the evening at 6 p.m. We will also be running our transformational racial healing circles again, starting in February. So make sure you stay tuned for that. We'll be hosting our annual action forum where we can really plug you into organizations doing on-the-ground work in areas like environmental justice, housing, and things like that. And we'll also be hosting our Let's Talk series again throughout the year, as well as our 21-day challenge. So please stay tuned, join us. If you're not signed up for our emails, please do so you can find out our events. Thank you so much for your support in all the ways that you do, and I just really appreciate being in this work with you all.
And now please join me in dedicating our special offering this evening. To the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our lives and these our offerings.
So as we prepare for our candle lighting, hear these words from Out of the Stars by Robert Weston, which I feel captures the mystery and the wonder of all of life, including our own very existence. Out of the stars in their flight, out of the dust of eternity, here have we come, stardust and sunlight, mingling through time and through space.
Out of the stars have we come, up from time, out of the stars have we come.
Time out of time before time, in the vastness of space, Earth spun to orbit the sun. Earth, with the thunder of mountains, newborn, the boiling of seas.
Earth, warmed by sun, lit by sunlight, this is our home. Out of the stars have we come.
Mystery, hidden in mystery, back through all time. Mystery, rising from rocks in the storm and the sea.
Out of the stars, rising from rocks and the seas, kindled by sunlight on earth, arose life.
Ponder this thing in your heart. Life up from the sea, eyes to behold, throats to sing, mates to love.
Life from the sea, warmed by the sun, washed by rain. Life from within, giving birth, rose to love.
This is the wonder of time. This is the marvel of space. Out of the stars swung the earth. Life upon earth rose to love.
This is the marvel of life, rising to see and to know. Out of your heart, cry wonder, sing that we live.
And so we now move to a simple sharing of candlelight, and we declare once more that the dark universe is suddenly illuminated by the light that we hold. In a few moments, as we pass the flame among us, please be careful with that open flame. Keep it away from those in front of you. Once your candle is lit, it should remain upright. Remember to bow your unlit candle to the lit candle to get light. Remember to bow your unlit candle to the lit candle to get your light. So now please stand as we prepare to share the candlelight. The moment of magic and wonder begins when our hearts are open. Remember, and our spirits more generously give and receive the light. Pass it on. I'm going to get you started.
And you can pass it. Thank you. And you can pass it.
So sing together, Silent Night. our candle, feel the radiance that comes from these candles. Let this radiance represent for us the love, the grace, the compassion, the justice that we can shed like light into the wider world. Let this light represent for us the divine light within all things, including us. Before we blow out our candles together, let's take a moment and think about one place in the world, one person in the world at least, who you want to share more love, more grace, and more care. So when you're ready, you can blow out your candle. So when the song of angels is stilled, when the star in the sky is gone, when the kings and princes are home, when the shepherds are back with their flocks, the work of Christmas begins. To find the lost, to heal the broken, to feed the hungry, to release the prisoner, to rebuild the nations, to bring peace among the people, and to make music in the heart. Merry Christmas to all of you.